who is a great family man, certainly outstanding in the medical profession, and an outstanding leadership in our Association of Lions. Again, I thank the governor and mayor for joining us. We appreciate you coming to our opening ceremony. And what an opening ceremony, as we got to enjoy such great culture of the Japanese people. I can't imagine being able to beat those drums that long. I noticed all the sweat on the drummers' backs, and certainly as hard as they worked. You know, it's interesting, in a world of need, there's always someone there to help. In a world of suffering, there's someone there who cares. In a world of destruction, there's someone there to provide relief. In a world of illiteracy, there's someone there to teach. In a world of service, there's one name that stands out above all, because that's all we've done for the past 95 years. Lions Clubs International. That's why we were started. That's why we exist. That's our motto, we serve. It's been interesting to me as I've traveled the world of Lionism, to realize how the world continually gets smaller. We can pick up our telephones, send emails across the world, make phone calls anywhere in the world, hook to the internet and see what's going on the opposite side of the world. But as the world gets smaller, it seems that the challenges become even greater, and that the need for our service may be even more needed today than what it was in 1917, with the challenges that are out there. You know, it's interesting to think that Lions Clubs International is the largest service organization in the world. But myself, I'm much more proud to think that we're not only the largest, but that we are the best service organization in the world. But if we want to maintain the fact that we are the best service organization in the world for another 95 years, we need to raise this association to new heights, to heights where maybe only eagles dare to soar. We need to remember the strong legacies that we have in our association. Certainly that legacy of Melvin Jones, that had the vision of starting this association back in 1917, and the vision of Helen Keller, who challenged us in 1925 to become Knights of the Blind, and gave us our signature project that we're known for throughout the world. And certainly the ongoing legacy that we create day by day with our Campaign Sight First and now our Campaign Sight First 2 project, where we have restored sight to over 30 million people. But as we remember these strong legacies, we need to take a good look at a lot of our everyday traditions and see how we can change. Yes, as Lions, we must become agents of change. We must be ready to address the problems of today and be prepared to meet the challenges of tomorrow. You know, it's been interesting, as Linda and I have traveled the world the past 28 months as an executive officer, to visit with Lions in many, many countries, to see the great projects that you're doing out there. And then you think about some of our world leaders and how they're on their own personal agenda. Many have lost their integrity, but Lions Clubs International stands strong. We live on that same integrity that we started with in 1917. We come with no personal agenda. Our only agenda to reach out and to help those much less fortunate than ourselves. Yes, I think Lions Clubs International, and really all the service clubs, Rotary International, Kiwanis International, we are the true makers of peace in this world. When you think about living in a world of service, you hate to think that sometime in the next 24 hours, 1 billion people will go to bed hungry. Many of them small children that have no idea why they have those hunger pains. But in a world of service, we can have an effect on that. We can help restore the shelves of our food kitchens and our food banks. We can adopt families during holiday seasons to make sure that they have good, strong meals. We can maybe help feed our children as they go to school. Because as people are no longer hungry, they become obviously much happier people, become much more productive people, and certainly much more peaceful people. You know, it's been interesting with Linda being a career teacher for 36 and a half years, myself an educator many, many years ago, and how we value so much our education and how we encouraged our own two daughters to get their education. Not necessarily to be the #1 student in their class, but just do the best that they could. And they went on and got their college degrees and got their master's degrees and married young men with similar type ambitions. Both of them attorneys. I don't know if that speaks well of our family or not, but we certainly think it does. But we value that education. But it's been very eye-awakening to us to realize that 26% of the adult population walking this world today are considered to be illiterate, unable to write their name, unable to read as good as your 10-year-old child, or perhaps your 10-year-old grandchild. Well, in a world of service, we as Lions can reach out to those people. We can reach out to the young people to make sure that they learn how to read, maybe working with them in our schools or the libraries after school, our various literacy groups. We can reach out to those that are visually impaired and that for some reason beyond their cause lost their vision, but to help them so that possibly they can learn how to read Braille and they can enjoy books as well as we do. In some areas of our world, we have radio reading services where people can volunteer and go in and read books over the radio waves, again, so the visually impaired can enjoy those books. And to reach out to that large segment of the world that for whatever reason did not get their education when they should have. And to reach out to them and to teach them how to read. It's interesting, 2 months ago we were in the beautiful country of New Zealand, down in Queenstown, New Zealand. What a beautiful area, surrounded by the mountains, snow-capped mountains as we played golf down below on the surface. A country of only 4 million people, a country with a very strong middle class. But yet in that country, their government says that 1/4 of their population, typical to the typical to the percentage of the rest of the world, 1/4 of their population is either illiterate or has great difficulty reading. And what does that mean to the everyday public? Well, when people are in the workplace and cannot read or have difficulty reading, we experience much lower production. We experience more industrial accidents. We experience more social ills. I mean, after all, if a person is sick and they receive a prescription from a doctor, but they cannot read, they cannot understand how to take that medication. They cannot understand how to get well. The small country of New Zealand says that 1 million people that are illiterate costs the government $3 billion every year. Now think what that does to larger countries like India, like the United States of America. It's just times and times and times and times that $3 billion. So it's so important that we reach out and help those people to get their education. You know, President Kennedy said that leadership and learning are indispensable to each other, that they are so important. We must continue our campaign Sight First and Sight First 2 efforts to eradicate reversible and preventable blindness. Because again, as people have their sight restored, they become much happier people. They become much more productive people, and they become much more peaceful people. And in a world of service, we have found out we can do that. Earlier this year in Nepal, we kicked off our effort to eradicate measles by 2020. With our $1 equals 1 shot to 1 child saves their life. In Japan, measles is probably not a problem. In the United States, children get measles, but they get over it within a week or 10 days. Not considered to be a serious problem. But in developing countries in the world, 450 children are dying daily from that horrible disease, from measles and rubella. But again, with our partnership with the Gates Foundation, through the power of service, we can eradicate that horrible disease. This year, we intend to vaccinate 150 million children, again, giving them a chance to lead a full life, giving them a chance to be happy and more productive, and certainly grow into peaceful type adults. We as Lions need to continue to show our acts of kindness, not because we feel we have to, but because something in our heart tells us that we should. It doesn't have to be a campaign Sight First too. It doesn't have to be the eradication of measles. We can show our service by simple things. Maybe just reaching out and opening a door for an elderly person. Maybe going to the grocery store for someone that is sick and shut in. But to do all these things, we must continue to grow our membership. We must become proactive with our new members. 2 years ago, Linda and I bought a new vehicle. And within 3 days, we received a call from the dealership. They said, "How were you treated at the dealership? Was the car presented properly for delivery? Is the car performing as you expected?" Within about 10 days, we got a call from the manufacturer. And the same type of questions. How were you treated at the dealership? Was the car properly prepared for delivery? Is the car meeting your expectations as to what it would be when you bought it? And they called about every 6 months. Similar type questions. How's the car performing? Are you happy with the vehicle? Trying to maintain our business before we have a chance to go somewhere else. Well, we need to do the same thing with our new members. We need to call them, contact them every 3 to 6 months, the first couple years that they're members. And just ask them, have you been properly inducted? Have you been assigned to a committee within your club? Is your club performing like you thought it would? Is being a Lion giving you that feeling that you thought it should? And if we do that for a 2-year period, we will have good, strong Lions that will not want to leave our association. You know, speaking of leaving our association, if we could have maintained last year 1 out of 5 people that left this association, we would have grown by 10%. We had a nice growth the way it was of about 20,000. But had we retained 1 out of 5 of those people that left our association, we would have had a growth of about 135,000. Just amazing what we could do. And at the same time, we need to take care of the current members that we have. As Dr. Tam said, we need to make them feel that they are part of the family, only because they are. They're part of the big picture in our family. Make them feel wanted. If a member starts to miss meetings, check and find out why. Is he or she ill? Have they had a family situation that's caused them to miss? You know, we've heard the story many times of the member who was a good member of his club for like 25 years, a regular attender. All of a sudden, he came up missing from the meetings for about 3 months. And after about 3 months, the club got a letter that he had resigned. And then somebody called and said, "Hey, Joe, what happened? Why are you leaving the club?" He said, "You know, I spent 4 weeks in the hospital. I spent 8 weeks at home recovering from that illness. And never once did I get a phone call or a card from anybody in my club." He said, "I've been a contributor to this club for 25 years, but nobody took the time to find out what was wrong." He said, "I don't think I'm part of this family any longer." You know, we cannot allow that to happen. We need to make our members, as I say, feel that they are a part of the family. Well, we've had a great week here in Fukuoka. We're going to have another good couple of days. You know, I'm confident that this week's event will certainly help to strengthen our shared commitment to the service to humanity, and will provide us with new insights on how we can work together to build a better world. A world that protects the dignity of every person and fosters that incredible power of the human spirit. Thank you very much.
昨年2011年3月11日、東日本を中心に日本は大きな災害に見舞われました。その被害は想像を絶する甚大なものでしたが、世界中のライオンズクラブがその復興に携わってまいりました。本日はこの会場と岩手県大船渡市の大船渡復興屋台村を中継で結び、 その復興の奇跡とこれからの道筋を探っていきたいと思います。
それではここから LCIF 理事長ライオン・ウィンクンタムに進行をお願いしましょう。現地大船渡復興屋台村からは 332B 地区4リジョンライオン磯貝健一、大船渡屋台村有限責任事業組合代表大船渡ライオンズクラブ大船渡北支部長ライオン及川祐介をお呼びしましょう。ではお願いします。
Good afternoon, Line Isogai and also Oikawa. How are you today?
大船渡のライオン磯貝、ライオン及川、こんにちは。お元気ですか？
こんにちは。
こんにちは。
ハムさん、そしてライオンズクラブのメンバーの皆さん。
I'm glad that I'm able to see all of you again, and I can see that you are working at your food store. I still recall that on the 11th of March last year, I was working in the office, and all of a sudden there was a breaking news mentioning about the earthquake in Japan, in the eastern of Japan, and then followed by tsunami. It was
皆さんがお元気そうでとても安心しました。私は初めに震災の知らせを受けた瞬間のことをよく覚えています。私はその時オフィスで仕事をしている最中でした。そこへ速報ニュース、緊急ニュースが流れてきまして、画面に震災、地震の後の津波の様子が映し出されたのです。
It was shock and devastated, but most importantly, it was heartbreaking.
何よりも大きなショックを受け、そして非常に心が痛みました。
I was asking myself, what lines in the world can do for this disaster and to help the lines in Japan.
それと同時に世界のライオンズが日本で被災された皆様のために何ができるだろうかということをすぐに考えました。
And it's important for Lines Up International and Lines Up International Foundation to respond immediately to answer the call, because we know that there's a need in the eastern part of Japan to help all of us to support the lines over there and to help the people in the eastern part of Japan.
東日本で苦しんでいらっしゃる被災者の皆様に対して一刻も早くできる限りの支援を世界中のライオンズの皆様から取り付け、そしてお届けしなければならないと思いました。
We tried to call the leadership in Japan, but it took quite a few days before I was able to get hold of some of the leadership of lines in Japan. For example, like our OSIL Forum Chairperson Furo and other leadership in Japan.
そしてすぐに日本国内のライオンズの間でも震災対策のための委員会、事務所が設立され、何人ものライオンの方々がすぐに救援活動に当たられました。その中には今回のフォーラム委員長であるライオン・フローも含まれておりました。
After we communicated, we were able to inform the lines in the world and fellow lines in Japan, you are not alone because you've been helping the people, the needy people in the world for the past so many years. And it's about the time for the lines in the world to offer the friendship and the support towards the disaster in Japan.
そしてすぐに世界中のライオンズと連絡を取り合い、支援の協力を取り付けました。日本のライオンズの皆様、皆さんは日本だけで孤独に戦っているのではありません。世界中のライオンズが、日本のライオンの皆さんが世界に対してされてきた貢献の大きさを大変認識しているからこそ、すぐに迅速な、そして効果的な支援が世界中から集められました。
Within a short period of time, the lines in the world, together with the lines in Japan, we were able to raise 21 million US dollars.
そして、数日のうちに世界中のライオン、そして日本のライオンの皆様から集まった義援金は2100万 US ドルに上りました。
And we believe that with that support, we can offer our help to the Lions as well as to the victims in the eastern part of Japan.
この支援金で現地で、被災者の皆様方を助けるべく尽力されていた日本のライオンズの皆様にとっても幾分かの支援となったのではないかと思っております。
So I was very pleased that after I installed as the international president June last year, I was able to work with the leadership in Japan and giving me the opportunity to visit the disaster area in the eastern part of Japan.
昨年の6月にこうして、ライオンズ国際協会の会長として私は選ばれ就任することができましたので、まさにその震災の後、被災地をライオンズ国際協会会長として訪問する機会を得ました。
And I witnessed how much the Lions in the eastern part of Japan been doing together with the rest of the Lions in Japan and to help the victim in the affected areas.
被災地へ足を運び、そしてライオンズの皆様が被災地でどのような活動をされているかということをこの目で見ることができました。
And we also visited the temporary home for the victims in Sendai.
そして仙台では仮設住宅に避難していらっしゃる被災者の皆様方をお尋ねいたしました。
We have discussed with the people over there, and we also discussed the lines in that area and find out how we are able to help.
そして被災者の皆様方と直接対話をし、被災者を助けている現地のライオンの皆様とも対話を重ねることで、本当にどのような支援が必要とされているのかを現地で直接確かめたのです。
We are not only offering supplies and relief materials to the people over there, but most importantly, we would like to offer job opportunities and working opportunity for the people as well as the Lions in that areas.
私たちは単に物資や資金などすぐに効果のあるものをお届けするだけが役目だとは思っておりません。現地の方々、そして日本のライオンズの方々に仕事の機会を与えるためにそうした機会を探すような活動もいたしました。
When the Lions in Offunato mentioning about the food stores, and we all think that this is a very good idea, and I just want to ask you, how's the business over there?
大船渡の皆様はこのように屋台村を設立されて活動されているということですね。非常にいいアイデアだと思います。今どのような結果が出ていますか？
ライオンタム会場の皆様、そして世界中のライオンズクラブの皆様、あの時のご支援は本当にありがとうございました。私たちは震災直後からさまざまな苦難に直面をいたしましたが、皆様の温かいご支援でこのように大船渡屋台村が立ち上がることができました。改めて御礼申し上げます。ありがとうございました。
ライオン磯貝です。震災直後は電気、水道、交通網がなく、その日その日の生きることに精一杯で、前のことを見ることができずにいました。その時、世界のライオンズの方々から物資が届き、明日の糧と慰霊をいただきました。何よりも私たち被災民だけでなく、私たちのを支えるライオンズの同志が世界中にいて、我々を見守っているという心強さが感じられました。私は今、全国のライオンズの方々からご支援をいただき、さらに横浜ライオンズの支援により、 フェリス女学院の協力をいただき、被災地の子どもたちにミニコンサートと歌唱指導を行い、子どもたちが心の安らぎを得て毎日を健やかに過ごしています。このようなソフトの支援をこれからは必要かと思います。これもひとえに全世界のライオンズマンおよび支援の賜物と心より感謝を申し上げます。本当に皆さんありがとうございます。
Thank you.
ありがとうございます。
You may also want to know that the Lions in Japan, they are also setting up food stores in Fukuoka Convention, and they are raising funds to support the reconstruction in your area. So, Lions in Ofunado, you are not alone. You are having all the support from the Lions in Japan as well as the Lions in the world. The work is not done yet, so 頑張れ。
大船渡の皆さんは一人だけで頑張っているのではありません。今日このオセアルフォーラムの会場にフードフェスティバル、その中にも、東北の物資を提供する屋台が、設営されています。非常ににぎわっております。こちらでの収入はすべてその大船渡、そして被災地の復興のために充てられることとなっております。頑張ってください。
Thank you.
ライオンタウン、俺は終わったよ。ライオンタウン、そして会場の皆さん、私たちは世界中のライオンズの皆さん、本当にありがとうございます。今日のお話を聞いていただき、勇気が本当に湧いてきました。私たちはこれからも地域のため、世界のため、交渉を続けてまいります。それを皆様方よろしく応援お願いいたします。ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございました。
ライオンウィンクンタム、そしてライオン磯貝健一、ライオン及川祐介、皆様ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございました。第51回東洋東南アジアライオンズフォーラムの開催を祝しまして、福岡大学附属若葉高等学校ダンス部の皆さんによりますダンスをご披露いただきます。